Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, Lord of the Rings spoiler season continues on, and Gimli is back at it, and my goodness. Okay, we've had a lot of fun and flavorful creatures, legendary creatures specifically, in this set. I mean, yesterday, if you haven't seen the Shadowfax episode, make sure you see that one, because my goodness, is that just the perfect design choice. There was one specific design choice in there that really will make you laugh. This one, I think, will as well. Gimli, counter of kills. If you remember, one of the famous parts, at least I would say famous part of Lord of the Rings, is when Gimli and Legolas are having that kill contest, and they keep counting back and forth and being like, I'm one-upping you, whoa, and Gimli seems much more, into it than Legolas. I mean, Legolas is in it, but also just like kind of outpacing Gimli in like a, oh, I'm cooler than you kind of way. Regardless, Gimli, hey, a 4/3 dwarf warrior with trample cost 3 and a red. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, Gimli counter of kills deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. That is perfect. And of course, the flavor text really encapsulates this too. 21! That's a terrible Gimli. My goodness. Okay, ignore that, cried Gimli. He hewed a 2-hand stroke and laid the last orc before his feet. Now count my passes, Master Legolas. Not trying the Gimli voice there. So, yeah, basically, this commander is all about your opponents, well, having creatures, then having those creatures, die. So, essentially, you are going to have ways, well, maybe to give your opponents more creatures because you're just, oh, so generous, right? You're like, here, have creatures, and your opponents are going to be like, oh, no, I know what's coming. And then you've got ways to take your opponent's creatures out, of course, and maybe ways to punish them even further. So, yeah, I really like the design of this commander. Again, I think it perfectly encapsulates, that Gimli moment from Lord of the Rings. So, yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this one. I think it's a really cool design, a really fun one, and a fun commander as well. Now, of course, in this episode, I'm going to be taking you through the budget buys, cards that are within my budget, cards that are less than $1, any pricier picks, cards outside of my budget but might be within yours. So, of course, we're going to start things off with, well, me reminding you that there's a card listing in the description below before I forget to say that. And then we'll start off with the budget buys. There we go. Anyways, need more coffee. Let's jump into the budget buys, starting off with a Crow and Horse. This is the very first card that came to my mind. And whenever it comes to like these kind of decks that are like, hey, your opponents need creatures for this deck to really work, a Crow and Horse is a great one. A 0/4 horse with Defender that says when it enters the battlefield, opponent gains control of it. On top of that, at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Now, this one works in somewhat a weird way because, again, you are giving it to an opponent, so that opponent does not get soldiers. They are basically giving out soldiers. So, every other opponent, including yourself of them, opponent of them, all of their opponents, which includes yourself, there we go, is going to get a 1/1 soldier on that one opponent's upkeep. So, this is basically a token generator for everyone else. So, yeah, you get some tokens, which is nice, but also your opponents, 2 of them, will be getting tokens on every single one of those upkeeps, and they're going to keep their army up because of that. And then the potential of them taking damage from your commander increases, obviously, with the more creatures they have. Moving on, Goblin Spymaster, another great one. A 2/1 with first strike. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player creates a 1/1 red Goblin creature token with creatures you control attack each combat fable. So this can cause some fantastic chaos, and I absolutely love this. Because basically, hey, you get a creature token, and also that creature token is going to force your creatures to attack. Well, next combat. Regardless, a fantastic way to get the pressure on your opponents, force them into some maybe unfavorable attacking, conditions, essentially, and also, yeah, give them a single token every single turn that, of course, can die and damage them. Next up, Relic Robber, a bit more specific, but this one's kind of like continuous damage, which is nice. 2/2 Hasty Goblin Rogue. Whenever it deals combination to a player, that player creates a 0/1 colorless Goblin construct artifact creature token. With this, creature can't block, and at the beginning of your upkeep, this creature does 1 damage to you. Basically, if that player can't convince other players to block it, that's probably not going to get taken out for quite a while, and it's just going to sit there and damage that player. And then again, when it does get taken out, it is an artifact creature token. It's a creature, so that's also going to damage them too, thanks to your commander. Of course, we've got ways to wipe our opponent's creatures out, so we have ways to actually get this through. Moving on, though, let's talk about some ways to wipe our opponent's creatures out. Mizzy Immortus is a great one. 4 damage to our creature you control, or you can overload it and it's 4 damage to every single creature you do not control. So this can wipe out a lot of creatures, sometimes being a complete board wipe against certain opponents, taking out medium to small creatures, and of course probably taking out every single one of the creatures that you so generously donated to them. So yeah, it can be a fantastic play. Next up, Disrupt Decorum, yet another way to really wipe your opponent's creatures out. This one really kind of has other implications to it as well. Goad all creatures don't control. Until your next turn, those creatures are going to attack, and if they attack a player other than you, if able. So essentially, hey, I gave you all these creatures. The least you can do is swing with them. Oh, and your other creatures too. Oh, and not at me, at other opponents. So basically, you are causing chaos. You are causing damage potentially to players, to other creatures. You're taking creatures out. Yeah, this is not going to make you any friends, but it will, help your commander out in taking out creatures and also helping maybe take your opponents out as well. Next up, Moxen Warhammer. Something that I want to mention with this commander that is very, very interesting is that, yeah, it is Gimli that is dealing the damage. So you want Gimli to have, well, okay, Trample's nice, but Gimli already has Trample. +3 is also nice, but Lifelink, that is the big thing on this where, hey, if your commander is lifelink, you're going to be gaining a lot of life throughout the game. Again, every single time an opponent's creature dies, you get value out of that. You get life out of that. I mean, on top of, your opponent going down, you are now going up. You're padding your life total a ton with something like this. Next up, you want to pad it even more? Hey, Dictate of the Twin Gods, an incredible card. I mean, one that is risky, but incredible. Flash, if a source would deal damage, not you control. If a source would deal damage to a permanent player, it deals double that damage to that permanent player instead. Basically, hey, double everything up. All the pain that is happening twice as much. So, of course, I mean, all the damage sources that you have are dealing at double the damage. Consider that your opponents are as well. Yes, so you got to be careful with this. It does have flash. You can play it when you need to. And hey, Gimli is dealing out twice as much damage as well. This can really, really add up throughout the game. And of course, yeah, with lifelink, that makes it much better. Moving on, a slightly safer approach, though, is Admiral Hellion. Trample, 4/5. If another red source you control would deal damage to a permanent player, it deals that much damage to that player, or that +1 to that permanent player instead. Basically, hey, instead of Gimli just dealing 1, it's going to be dealing 2. All your other red sources will double up damage too. Not double, but I guess Gimli doubles. Your other 1/1s will double. But basically, hey, deal extra damage with your red sources. Again, this pairs really well too with a Dictated Twin God, just stacking on additional damage too. Any ways you have to get extra damage out of Gimli is great, and your other things too. Moving on, let's talk about Spiteful Prankster. Yeah, like Gimli, you've got some other things that can basically kind of replicate that. Spiteful Prankster is a 3/2 devil. It says as long as it's your turn, Spiteful Prankster has first strike, so that's nice in combat. On top of that, whenever a creature dies, Spiteful Prankster deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. This one is, well, not specific to just your opponent's creatures, but counts yours as well. So yeah, there's these other kind of effects out there that can really take advantage of creatures dying, not just your opponents, but your own too, and dish out a lot of damage. Again, Ember Hellion plus this, plus your commander, obviously can dish out a lot of damage. Dictated Twin Gods, a lot of things in combination. Once you get things set up, once you get things going, you can take your opponents out incredibly quickly, especially if you've got, well, Rage Thrower in play. This one does cost 6 mana, but it is well worth it. Whenever the creature dies, Rage Thrower deals 2 damage to target player. So again, you can really stack up damage on a singular player. Kind of with this in Spiteful Prankster, it doesn't have to be the creature's controller that you're dealing damage to. It can be any player. So again, you're giving out all these creature tokens. Your opponent's creatures are dying left and right. And you know what? That one player over there is the most threatening. So let's take them out first. Let's deal all of our damage from these to that player. I mean, Gimli's still going to be hitting the player that owns the creature, but still, these will say, let's focus this. Let's hyper-focus this. Let's take that player down while we can. Moving on, though, let's talk about the pricier picks, cards that are more than $1, unfortunately. And yeah, there's some fantastic ones in here. Let's start things off with Forbidden Orchard. I love this card. I wish it was budget-friendly. It's been reprinted a couple of times now, so hopefully it keeps going down. Tap at 1 mana of any color. Perfect mana fixing. Doesn't really matter for your mono red deck, but the part that does matter is whenever you tap Forbidden Orchard for mana, target opponent creates a 1/1 color spirit creature token. Now, normally this would be a massive downside to a card like, oh no, I mean, I get perfect mana fixing and it can tap right away, but that player gets a creature. Oh no. But with this commander, you're like, yeah, take all the creatures you want because I'm going to be taking them out and taking you down because of that. So yeah, Forbidden Orchard is a great card with a deck like this. Next up, oh, I really wish this was budget friendly. Again, it was at one point a long time ago. Genesis Chamber. Whenever a non-token creature in his battlefield, if Genesis Chamber is untapped, the creature controller creates a 1/1 color smear artifact creature token. Of course, if you've got like an artifact-centric deck and you want to take advantage of this on your own, you could, find ways to tap this. we don't want to tap this. We want our opponents to get creatures when their non-token creatures come into play. This can work especially well against a blink deck, or, you know, like a Reanimator deck, decks that get creatures in again and again and again, because this is just going to keep making them more and more creature tokens. And again, the more creature tokens they make, the more potential we have to deal damage to them. And yeah, we also just benefit from this too. So keep that in mind. We get more creatures, which is nice. Moving on, Varchild's War Riders, a really weird old card. Trample, Rampage 1. Don't worry about that. What you should worry about is cumulative upkeep. Put a Survivor token into play under target opponent's control. That is a 1/1 creature. This is in the weird, I don't have the Oracle text in front of me. It's written in a weird way. Regardless, cumulative upkeep basically is like every single turn this just stacks. You get more and more and more. So hey, you're going to be giving out a lot of 1/1 Survivor tokens to opponents. And yeah, because of that, you can then have the potential to take out a lot of creatures very, very easily. Speaking of survivors, though, we got Varchild, Betrayer of Keldor. And deals counter to a player. That player creates that many 1/1 survivor, red survivor creature tokens. Survivors your opponent's control can't block, and they can't attack you or planeswalker you control. When it leaves the battlefield, you gain control of all survivors. So nice. Basically, you know what? Again, we've got ways to take our opponent's creatures out. Let's do that. Let's get this through. Let's get them some survivors. Get them some more creatures so that we can take those out and punish them further. And if this is ever taken out, sure, we can gain control of the survivors. Nice. Why not? Moving on, we got Goblin Sharpshooter. This card is really cool. I absolutely love it, and I wish it was more budget friendly. Unfortunately, it is not, but yeah, this card is really sweet. It's a 1/1 for a 3 mana. It doesn't untap during an untap step. Whenever a creature dies, you untap it, and it can tap to deal 1 damage to our creature or player. So this kind of works in a similar way to your commander, like just at a base level. Hey, a creature died. Cool. Ping someone for 1. Again, this one doesn't care what creature dies. Could be yours, could be an opponent's. It does not matter. What matters is this can ping anything. Again, creatures or players. And again, since this can ping creatures, you can take creatures out with this again and again and again. Again, a lot of those tokens that you're making for your opponents are 1/1s. So every single time you do that, ping, take it out. Ping, take it out. Ping, take it out. Because again, this keeps untapping whenever that happens. And there's a certain keyword that I might mention here in a bit, if I remember to put the card in here, that might work very well with this. Where you can just basically take out all your opponent's creatures, and they really, really have to stop this creature. Or, yeah, you're not going to be able to get any more creatures in play, opponents. Sorry about that. Next up, we've got Pyrohemia, an incredible card, especially for a deck like this. Begin of the end step, no creature on the battlefield, sacrifice it. Well, that's not good. Let's hope there's still a creature on the battlefield. But pay a red, deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. This is huge. It takes down life totals, yes, including your own. But again, if you've got lifelink and things like that on Gimli or some of your other, you know, fantastic ways to deal out damage, sure, you can gain some of that back. That being said, you're taking down your opponent's life totals, which is nice, and also taking down creatures. Yeah, you got to be kind of careful with how many times you activate this in a turn, because you don't want to take out some of your key creatures potentially. But yeah, again, with those little 1/1s that you're making for your opponents, yeah, take those out for a single red mana every single time you do so. Takes out every single one of those. This can be a massive effect that does a great job for you. Wish it was more budget friendly. Yeah, there's that black version that is escaping me the name of it, and I should know the name of it. That is much more budget friendly because it's been reprinted a ton of times, and for some reason Wizards is like, no, we'll never reprint Pyrohemia, even though we did it like twice, but we're never gonna do it again. Don't know why. Anyways, Vicious Shadows, an incredible card. This one, hey, 7 mana for enchantment. That is a lot, but believe me, this does a lot of work for you. Whenever a creature is put in graveyard from play, you may have Vicious Shadows deal damage to target player equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. Yeah, okay, so now you're just like, all right, yeah, you know all these creatures I'm giving out? Whenever they die, they're not just taking like 1 damage from my commander, or maybe 2 from Rage Thrower, or, you know, if I've got Dictated Twin Gods, or all these things. No, what's going to happen is you're going to be taking damage. Whoever I want is going to be taking damage based on the cards in their hand. My goodness. Again, you're playing against a player that loves drawing cards, which many commander players do, and keeps like a full grip. Hey, that's 7 per creature. Gross. It's not based on like power, not based on toughness. It is based on the cards in hand. This could take players out in absolutely no time. Yeah, worth the 7 mana. Worth the $2 if you can afford it for your deck as well. Moving on. I didn't put the right one in the deck. I meant to put Basilisk Collar, and I put Shadow Spear. Both are great. Basilisk Collar, I will mention, gives lifelink, but also Death Touch, which of course works great with Goblin Sharpshooter, because you can take out every single creature you want it to take out. Shadow Spear, also fantastic, though. I don't want to take anything from Shadow Spear. A great card. And a reason I included this in the deck is because, well, this one gets ++1, trample, and lifelink. Lifelink, again, is what we really care about with this. Again, throwing it on Rage Thrower, throwing it on our commander. We can gain a ton of life with this. On top of that, though, pay 1. Permanents your opponents control lose Hexproof Indestructible on a turn. This can be huge because, again, losing Hexproof, losing Indestructible can make us be able to take them out. Previously, if we weren't able to table their creature, unfortunate. But now we can. Again, most of our removal is going to be damage-based board wipes or damage-based spells. And because of that, Indestructible is kind of hard to take out those creatures, sometimes Hexproof as well. So being able to take them out is huge. And again, lifelink, always a good thing. Oh, gross, I forgot I included this in here. Hey, Grafted Exoskeleton. Yeah, if you want another way to take out players, this is definitely one. +2/+2 and infect to the equipped creature. If this is ever unattached from a permanent, you sacrifice that permanent. Basically, hey, attach this to your commander. Again, just at a base level without any other effects. 10 creatures get taken out under that player's control. They are taken out because of poison counters. If you've got Dictate of the Twin Gods, if you've got, Ember Hellion, any of those ways to make even more damage, that can be even quicker. Even just like this on Rage Thrower, 5 creatures get taken out, that player is gone. Again, infect equals poison counters when damage is dealt, and 10 poison counters, that's it. It makes it so much easier, so much quicker to take players out when you utilize something like this. Moving on, and finally, we've got City on Fire. Yeah, we talked about Dictate of the Twin Gods, and yeah, damage doublers are great, but a damage tripler is pretty absurd. City on Fire is an incredible card. Convoke, so you can cast it for a lot less, potentially even free at the amount of creature tokens that you might be generating, and if a source you control will deal damage to a permanent player, it deals triple that damage instead. Again, your commander now is dishing out lightning bolts every single time one of that player's creatures gets taken out. Rage Thrower is now dealing 6. Having doubling, having tripling, stack on top of each other can be insane. And yeah, again, with like Grafted Exoskeleton, that makes it even quicker for an infect win. What's not to love about that? Yeah, let me know in the comments below, though, what your thoughts are on this commander. I absolutely love the flavor, love the function of this one. Again, I just think it perfectly encapsulates the, scene where they're competing on kills. And yeah, Gimli, I like the design. I like the design. I like the concept for the commander. I think a lot of players are going to be excited about this one. Let me know in the comments below if you're one of them. Let me know what your thoughts are on this card, on these cards. If you are excited about this commander, check out that card listing in the description below. Stay tuned to this channel for more exciting quick takes and spoilers. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.